We have been the victims of Satan. So bad a victim because he made us into himself. So we have become a bunch of little devils, scheming and lying and deceiving and robbing and raping. When you do wickedness, you're not yourself. When you break the natural and the divine law, you're not you. That is Satan working through us.
Evil has left its mark on every one of us, and the evidence is all around. Today we are living in a society drowning in violence, corruption, and confusion, where people betray their own communities, act against their own nature, and celebrate it as if it were progress. But on Saturday, July 30th, 2022, at the United Schools of Survival International Martial Arts Training Conference in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Farrakhan declared with conviction that this rule of wickedness cannot last forever. 89 years old at the time of this speech, Farrakhan appeared before the audience as a man who had been directly targeted by those same destructive forces. He survived multiple attempts meant to silence him, and he stood as living evidence that no matter how hard darkness pushes, it can be overcome. This speech urges us to open our eyes and break free from the conditioning that blinds us. So listen closely as Farrakhan offers the wisdom of a life lived through trials that would have broken most.
God has helped me to see God in me. If you saw me today get out of the car, you saw the brothers helping me. If you saw them helping me up, why is that? The devil made an effort to kill me with radiated seeds that was so much radiation they knew they were going to kill me silently, but it didn't work. They failed in their effort to kill me, but the poison of radiation is gradually taking its toll. A medical report that my brother Nadia got of my medical records, they admitted that I was over-radiated. I had a prostate condition, and when they went in to look, their words were, the prostate was obliterated. They put so much radiation, it burned up my insides. But here I am. Here I am.
Yes, there he was, still standing against every odd. And even now, in 2025, he remains among us. Dear viewer, if Farrakhan can rise through what was meant to end him, then your trials, no matter how heavy, are not the end of your story. His life calls us to trust that strength is not in the absence of suffering, but in refusing to let suffering define the finish. We must learn how to fight. That strength, the kind that refuses to bow, that rises no matter the weight, has carried Farrakhan through every chapter of his life. You've just seen it in the man he is today, but that same spirit burned in him decades ago, long before now. It was there on February 23, 1990, at the State University of New York at Oswego, when he stood before a room of students and spoke with a fire that still echoes across generations. Let's go back to that moment and hear the voice of a man who could not be silenced then and still stands unbroken today.
America, at least the founding fathers thought so, that America was big enough to entertain the idea the revolutionary idea of freedom of speech. Now, in the freedom of speech that was given to the American people by the founding fathers of this great nation is a saving grace for this country. For to stifle dissent may be to stifle a truth that could correct a path that the nation is on that may be popular but not correct. But to allow a voice or voices of dissent to speak freely, that the American people may hear them and judge them and weigh them, could be the salvation of this republic. Something is wrong in the American society. It is not Farrakhan who made it wrong. I just got here a few days ago. I am not the author of bigotry. I am not the author of racism. I am not the author of anti-Semitism. I was birthed into that kind of world. So why blame me for what you've been suffering all along? Racism pervades the American society. Agreed. Racism pervades this institution. So, why make the people believe that my presence is going to exacerbate racial division? Why make people think that my being here is going to increase racial tensions and polarize people? Why be a hypocrite? You know that racism exists on this campus. You know that. And you know that you are not getting along well before I got here. You know that. And you know that you didn't give a damn whether you got along or didn't get along. But all of a sudden, now that Farrakhan is here, you want to lay all of the excrement at my doorstep. I say, no ma'am, no sir, take your poop scoop. No, take your poop scoop and take up your own excrement and put it where it belongs. I don't belong there. I never have had that kind of true reputation, and I refuse to allow you to believe that what media says I am is what I am. But tonight, you will hear me for yourselves, and tonight, you can make the judgment for yourselves.
We have carried the blame for a sickness we did not create. Racism was planted in the soil before we were even allowed to walk free upon it. Yet still, we rise, and still, they fear the sound of our truth. They say tension follows us, but tension was born from their refusal to see our worth. We are not what divides this nation. We are the mirror that shows it what it has always refused to face. And until that reflection is accepted, peace will never come.
Now, let's go to work. It's Black History Month. And it's nice, isn't it, that we've been given 1 month to think about ourselves. If you notice, no Caucasian, no Hispanic, no Native American has been given any kind of preferential treatment where history is concerned. You don't have a Ukrainian History Week, a Jewish History Week, a Chicano History Week, an Arab History Week, Irish History Week. Come on. Or month. Why? Why black history? Are you special? Or are your needs special? Everybody else knows something about themselves, and their own history and culture is a priority with them, and their parents teach them, and they have books to read about themselves that they don't need to come to Oswego or any other college to have somebody deal with their history. But black people have to have some special provision that we may know something about our history. Why? To the white students that are here, the Hispanic students that are here, this is a marvelous opportunity for you, because in reality, as we have been deprived in this society of the knowledge of our own history, you have also been deprived of the knowledge of our history. So because you don't know us, really know us, you cannot fully appreciate or respect what we have contributed to the onward march of civilization. Black students who do not know themselves, who do not know their history, cannot properly respect self. So it's difficult for you as a black student to command the respect of others if you are not a self-respecting community. And you cannot be a self-respecting black community if you don't know your history, know the roots that have produced the fruit. And if you know the root and appreciate the root, then you know the fruit and know the seed that is contained in the fruit. Then you know the past, you understand the present, you are equipped to deal with the future. Now, is this a crime of omission, or is this a crime of commission? We say it is both a crime of commission and a crime of omission. And this criminal activity is not just directed against black people, it is criminal against all people, because to rob one segment of the population of the dynamics of itself is to rob that segment that robs the other segment of the dynamics of itself. You cannot dehumanize me without in that same process dehumanize yourself. So when you take away from a people their whole history and then lie to them about who they are and what their fathers have contributed to the advancement of civilization, you have struck a death blow to that people, but it will come back and haunt you at a time when you least expect it.
We were given a single month, Black History Month, to acknowledge who we are, as if our history could fit inside 30 borrowed days. Those of lighter skin never needed reminders to honor themselves since their stories fill libraries, classrooms, and dinner tables. But we were stripped of ours, left to search for fragments scattered by time and silence. When we lose our story, we lose the mirror that teaches us respect. However, what they don't realize is that when they erase our roots, they wound themselves too. No one can bury the truth of a people without sinking into that same soil of forgetfulness. Keep listening as Farrakhan now turns his focus toward the country of America as a whole, its democracy, its education, and the consequences we face as a nation when we're taught an incomplete understanding of who we are.
Democracy, at a certain point in a nation's development, is a proper form of government. It is the better form of government. Democracy presupposes, however, the growth of intelligence, because one should not be given the right to choose unless one is fully in the knowledge of the thing that he's choosing for or against. If you don't give people knowledge, it is foolish to say we have a democracy. You have a hypocrisy here that is masquerading as democracy. It is better than most forms of government, but as you see the people rising in Eastern Europe against totalitarianism and a brutal authoritarian kind of government, don't you ever go to sleep and think that the American people will not rise against a pseudo-democracy. Are you listening? Every parent gives orders. That's our first form of government. It's a loving dictatorship. Mama dictates. Daddy dictates, hopefully with love. No, you're not going to Cornell. You're going to Oswego. I cannot afford Cornell. Yes, ma'am. But look, that loving mother and father that gave you the basis of knowledge. After a certain point, you don't want your mother ordering you. You don't want your father ordering you. They brought you here, but you don't want them to disrespect your growth of intelligence. So at a certain point, if they say, look, you got to be in here by 12 o'clock, that's it. And you're already 20 years old. You say, well, look, Ma, I don't feel like I should. Well, listen, let me tell you something. Whenever you think you're big enough to tell me when you're coming in, then young man, young woman, you better get a house of your own. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that white folk have treated us like they're little boys and girls. They were a slave master. And a slave master is one who makes your sphere of freedom limited according to his or her wishes. But when you feel like you're coming of age, you begin to rebel against some kind of dictatorial, authoritarian kind of authority. You want somebody to take counsel with you and appeal to your intelligence. Huh? Are you listening? Students in universities, colleges, should have had certain basic knowledge where professors should not adopt an arrogant posture and say to students, look, I got mine. You got yours, get. Students should be able to come to the teacher if they've developed a new way to do a thing that you've been doing in 5 steps in mathematics. They might go home and come up with 3. Then you tell the student, you got the right answer, but you didn't do it the right way. Therefore, I'm penalizing you. Hold it, professor. Your arrogance is making you to subject a student to your methodology. They got the right answer, they just didn't use the method that you taught. Suppose they have evolved a better method. In your arrogance, are you telling us that your student can't teach you? If you can learn from the ant and learn from the bee and learn from lesser creatures, you mean that you can't learn from a fellow human being simply because they have no letters behind their name? Shame, shame, shame. And this is why in America, revolt is coming against the educational system. Revolt is present. Young black people don't want to come to school. And it's foolish to take a football player and let him stand in front of black children and tell black children, stay in school. And the black children will say to the football player, stay in school for what? That I can become like you? A piece of meat? Children don't want to be made into what their professors are. Look at you, professors. Look at your condition. No. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to be smart. America pays a baseball player $1 million to knock a ball over a fence. Here's a professor that is shaping the destiny of a nation and cannot get a decent salary on which to live.
Professors, the very people meant to awaken minds, are underpaid and often overlooked, while entertainers and athletes are worshipped for distraction. Farrakhan saw this imbalance as the proof of a deeper sickness. A nation that rewards spectacle over knowledge will never produce wisdom, and democracy cannot survive on ignorance, no. Democracy is only sacred when wisdom lives inside it. We are told we live free, yet the freedom we hold has been managed as if we are children who must not think beyond the lines drawn for them. For too long, others decided what we could learn, how far we could rise, how much we could dream. But growth demands rebellion, the kind that reminds us that our minds are not their property. Such a rebellion begins with knowledge, true knowledge that we seek for ourselves. Only then do we stop accepting half-truths as education and comfort as freedom. That is what Farrakhan had been calling for, a rise in consciousness, not chaos. Because when a people learn to think for themselves, they become ungovernable by lies. And in that moment, they finally begin to seize their true power. Thank you for staying until the end of this valuable discussion. If Minister Farrakhan's message reached you, don't stop here. Like this video so it can rise higher, share it to strengthen someone else, and subscribe so you're always with us in our deep discussions on history, power, and truth. See you next time.